Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Drawing for Tattooers. I'm your host, James Wisdom, and I'm going to get started with some warm-ups like I like to do. So, put a dot in the center of my paper, and I'm just going to draw some square. Again, we're warming up, everybody. So square, roughly, right? Rectangle, square, whatever. We're going to think about perspective. We're thinking about how the edges of a cube, right, by this square, can also, let's see. So thinking about how the edges of this cube in square form here, right, can have a perspective to it. So each of these lines, I'm going to draw back here. Good morning, gang. I'm just getting warmed up. Hope you're doing well.
Morning, sir.
It's great to see everybody. And so out there, if this is working for you, you can let us know in the chat. We definitely would love to hear from you, know where you're watching us from. So yeah, I'm warming up, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get my movements to become fluid. I know I'm making these really sort of linear lines, but I really want to try my best to get my hands warmed up, my arms, my mind, as it were.
Yeah.
All right, in general, all right, we're going for this center point, generally speaking. So hopefully that's working for you. Okay, well these all look like they're starting to, line up a bit. Yeah, what if I did one more like a diamond shape? Rhombus, right? That's the name of that one, rhombus. Okay, same sort of thing. It's early. That's not that one wasn't very good looking. Let's try it one more time. That's what warm-ups are for. Right, put the kinks out. There we go. Yeah. Make some parallel. Roughly parallel. Yeah, cool.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Spirit. How you doing? Right. So I drew some lines. Now I'm trying to draw some circles. Oh my God. On the sides of these little boxes here, right, might kind of have a, slightly more elliptical shape. So what would that look like? Something like that. Oh, it's an art, not a science. Well, I I think that's what's fun about, like, it's really interesting to learn about perspective, right? And that's what we're practicing here. It's interesting to learn about perspective, but of course, when you're sketching, I think it is also it's also good for that to kind of be in the background, as it were. So you're really able to focus on the subject that you're trying to capture. And that's a part of what I'm hoping to do today is to talk about warm up with some perspective. Maybe we can actually we can even draw some. So anyways, why don't we leave our warm ups there? I'm feeling warmed up, and let's see here. I'm gonna stop sharing. Here we go. Let's say good morning, Kyle. How are you doing?
Doing great. How about you, James?
Good.
That's good. How was the festivities? How was the holidays?
It was really nice. It was really nice. How about you? Did you have a good one?
It was awesome. It was really, really good. The daughter
Outstanding.
came and visited from Idaho, so got to spend a bunch of time with her. It was great.
Well,
That's great.
got some upcoming events. Going to Puerto Rico for the tattoo convention. Jason Leeser is going. A few other people are going. So I'm, excited to meet some new friends and do some tattoos. And so yeah, that's what's new with me.
That's exciting as hell, dude.
Yeah, man. I wish you were coming. So
Oh yeah, next year? I don't know.
Maybe next year. Yeah. And so if anybody out there is watching us, if you're going to be in Puerto Rico next weekend, come check out the Puerto Rico International Tattoo Festival. Okay, so I'm just going to stretch out my my wrists and my hands. I'm really trying to make this a thing, like every day, right? So, all right, so I'm just going to pull back like this. Did some warm ups. Now I'm stretching. Just forgive me for being so awkward. I'm trying to be on camera. So stretch. All right. And then the other way, stretch. And again, like so, if you make a fist, you'll actually get a little more stretch going this way, right? If you make a fist going this way, you get a little less stretch. It's interesting how that works, but that's if it's feeling too tight for you, then you can actually sort of do that maneuver. That'll help you. Okay, both hands, right? Not too much. Don't overdo it. And a little bit of a this way. Hold it. That's awesome. Yeah, and then shake it off. So I think this is going to be beneficial in the long run. It's not going to necessarily make you better at drawing, but hopefully it'll help you draw for longer, right? That's what our we're hoping is going to happen for you. Well, anyway, welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Network, where tattooers, collectors, and the curious are all encouraged to join in these live stream of real-world events. We beam out nearly every single day, and with your help, we've become a quality network of amazing live and on-demand content. You can always find out more by visiting reinventingthetattoo.com. I have a script here somewhere. We'll wing it, right? We will wing it. So we have a number of weekly staple shows that you can check out. Starting on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have Skill Building Sundays, hosted by Jason Leeser. And following that, Mondays, 9 a.m. Eastern, we have Drawing for Tattooers. That's this show. Welcome. That's followed at 5 p.m. Eastern, Mondays. Let's Talk About Feelings, hosted by Robbie Ripple and Dusty. 9 p.m. on Mondays, we have the subscribers exclusive drawing group. So again, you can gain access to that by subscribing to the Canon or by joining the Evolution subscription. That is available at reinventingthetattoo.com. And on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast hosted by Vaughn Baker. Kyle Bernstein's out there. He's tattooing. He's doing great. So we are super, super stoked. Anyways, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, with Roku channel, and then also there's a podcast. I think we even have a TikTok. I saw some TikToks earlier with us on it. Isn't that fun? Right? It's funny. You go on the internet and see yourself. Anyways, you can always learn more again visiting reinventingthetattoo.com, and it's great to have you. So again, let us know in the chat if you this is working for you. All right. Jason Leeser says he's gonna be on soon. Everyone. Creatures Cave says, "Good morning, everyone." Hey, Creature. Well, it is. It's Monday morning, and it is freezing cold. It's freezing cold in the Midwest. How's it out there, out west for you, Kyle?
Oh gosh, it's not too bad. It's been raining a bit the last few days. The weather this week, probably in the highs of, if it'll load. We got some 70s, some 60s, 73, and then lowest was like 40. Nope, 39.
Otherwise, I can totally do the regular stuff for you. I do have also like
Here's
a
everybody.
honey
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hold on, Amber, you're.
Ooh, I can't do the almond milk.
I like to personally cut out some of the honey blend and use some coffee nut.
Amber, you are the. I think it's still streaming in the background. Amber, could we? Sorry about
I have it
that.
on in the background.
Not on the background. You sound better. That sounds much better.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, excellent. And then Spirit, let us know when you're back. I don't know how I clicked everybody on, but then it clicked off. So I don't know what that was about. Anyway, good morning, Amber. So nice to see you.
Good morning.
I saw your nails. They're looking awesome. Really good job on those.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah, those are
tried to
awesome.
get pictures of them after I put them on them, but I literally couldn't get them to hold still and stop staring at their fingers long enough to do so.
Yeah, no, I saw them too. I think they're looking great. Yeah, again, I think that's like it's like drawing. It's like painting. You know what I mean? It is painting, but it's very meticulous.
Some of those paintings on the tiniest nails I had to do with the head of a pin.
Yeah.
You should record it. I think that would make excellent content. People would love.
Oh, I curse too much.
Oh no, I mean that's like ASMR, right? Like it's kind of the sweet sounds of Amber cursing at you. I think
Yeah.
I think it might be onto something. So that's
Me cursing at nail polish and paintbrushes.
I love it. Oh,
So
there's Spirit. Hey,
coffee
Spirit,
nut,
what's
would that
up?
be- Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm ordering coffee. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Word. So does this?
I take a quad shot raspberry mocha stirred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I take it. I take my coffee without cream. So yeah, bring me one too. Well, I figure that I will. I'll just jump into the thing I wanted to share with everybody today. It's really interesting when I think about who's our target audience. Sometimes we may get like really advanced artists that tune into this. People that have been doing it their whole lives, and some people are they have a lot of understanding and knowledge about this. And then sometimes we get people who are very new. They don't have much experience at all with image making, right? With painting, with drawing and stuff. And so I do feel like that's a part of what we're trying to do is talk about fundamentals. So it helps out the new people, but then also it reminds even the most experienced of, what could be effective ways of doing the thing that they want to do. So anyway, this was, let me see if I can, I'm still learning this new software, everybody. So I really appreciate it.
Is there an app for this particular thing that we're using here?
I don't believe that there is.
Okay.
It's called Restream. Let me see here. And so I send out those reminders for everybody. once I make the show, we're gonna get the hang of it. I'm sure, but there's a learning curve involved as with everything, right? But just getting I had to like restart my computer. I had everything going, and it was like 5 seconds before we were supposed to start, and I had to restart my computer. And
Yeah, I've been having some issues with it. Well, not issues, but yeah, there's a learning curve definitely
yeah.
with it.
Mhm.
Well, Spirit, it's good to hear from you. How are things with you?
Oh, things are well. Things are well. Just came out of our Thanksgiving weekend, to which I just literally spent the entire weekend in my pajamas. Um,
That's what's up.
and just oh God, it was amazing. Let me tell
Yeah.
you. Woo. I forgot how much I needed to just sit at home and not think about art, not do nothing, not draw, just sit at home watching TV with my wife. I was kind of getting over a cold too, so there was that. Um, but I'm back and it's going down. How are you guys? It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Been
doing good.
good. I'm glad to hear it.
Still eating leftovers.
Right, same.
Today it's turkey rice soup and stuff and muffins.
Mm, yummy.
Excellent.
I've been working on some paintings lately too.
Really?
Yeah, I've been turning my tattoo designs into paintings, and it has just been so satisfying.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, um, doing more of that.
Show us some.
So after they're done, or before you do them?
Both.
Okay.
So before I do the tattoo, I'll turn it into a painting so that I can figure out all the issues that I'll have with it going forward. And then after I'm done with the tattoo, I'll just either keep it as a painting or, and just keep working on it. Um, I was I was featured in a local magazine called The Artist You Should Know. They did an article about me as a tattoo artist many years ago. And they recently had an art show that was based around that, and I was able to actually just take. I was thinking about, I was like, I don't have any pieces. I'm a tattoo artist, and I was like, well, I could just use these paintings here, and that's why I was able to put these paintings in the show. And
Nice.
that was inspiring to just so that I was able to just use my job to create art. That was really inspiring.
Excellent.
Sometimes it's also nice you're doing so much art that just walks out the door and you never see it again.
Yeah.
That it's nice to render a piece in full and get to keep it.
Oh, absolutely, Amber. I completely agree. Because then it's like you get to do you get to do the stuff to it that the client couldn't sit for, or didn't have time to sit for, or whatever,
Yeah, or didn't like.
or didn't like. Right. Hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then now you have a whole piece of artwork, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can frame it, you can sell it, whatever you want to do. It's yours. Sell it to the client. Who cares?
You should consider getting some of them run off as prints to be able to sell in your booth.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Jason
that's a
does
good
prints.
idea.
He can talk you through the whole thing.
Yeah, Jason makes
That
really
was that.
nice prints. They're really good quality. I mean, it's sometimes this is something that we talked about on the on the business, with Gabe's business classes and stuff like that, and it can be tough to make money from selling your prints, but having them, you can give them away. right, as promotional. Or even if you break even somewhat, that can be a really good strategy. Taking them to conventions is really, that seems to be a really good place to, just to get it out there. So having them is good. It can be tough. It can be tough to be able to make a profit on that all the time. But people do it. So, so don't give up on your, on your dreams for sure. But sometimes, like it really is, I think it really is sort of tough to, to put it out there, right? To get over some of the insecurities and to, to just like, to put the work on the market. That's the, with the tattoo, it's somehow easier. You know what I mean? Somebody's asking for it, you're doing it, right? When it is your own work. No, that's something that I run into. Anybody else?
Oh, 100%.
Definitely.
Over the week, we went down to like downtown for a little bit, and we stopped by this shop that had like a little like art gallery in it, like a little art shop. And we went on the front side. There's a bunch of stuff to buy, and on the back side, it was just like 3 walls just filled with artwork. And I was walking around looking at all the art. It was really cool. And then I noticed that all of them were done by the exact same artist. Like it was a pretty good amount of work. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, I don't think I have that much work to show. And just like the whole thought of that and just being able to put my artwork on display and just put myself out there, just be, I think I want to do it. Maybe it might take me a little bit of time, but I don't know. I think it'd be fun, Is the whole thought nerve-wracking? Yeah. Is it terrifying? Yeah. But like, whatever,
Those
screw
are
it.
usually the things you should run towards, though.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
If it terrifies
That's
you, that's where you need to be.
that's in the book, The War of Art. That's the
Yeah.
entire thing about the War of Art. Yeah.
Huh.
Go ahead. Please feel free to elaborate on that, Amber.
I don't know. There's something about being made to feel uncomfortable that lends itself to expression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly know how to explain it, but it's like artists are constantly torn between wanting to be left alone and wanting everyone to, see the product of their effort. So most artists are kind of introverted inside, but they have to be extroverted in order to express their art. So
Right.
being extroverted is an uncomfortable, awkward position. And a lot of times it lends itself to creativity. It goes right back down to that everything is created from chaos. You cannot have order unless you first have chaos.
That's the fun part. Well, yeah, just like the uncomfortability, can do a lot for you. So it's like the first guest spot I did, that was out of state. That was completely nerve-wracking the entire time. But like, I feel like it makes you a better artist when you do that type of stuff. Because it puts you in, you're able to be a little bit more comfortable in a lot more awkward situations like that, like say like conventions, and like really putting yourself out there, artwork wise, and meeting new people and talking about artwork, everything like that. Like the more, yeah, because like there's so much growth in the the uncomfortability, because it forces you to do stuff that you wouldn't typically do.
Yeah, you're never going to grow inside your comfort zone.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. No, not at all. You get
Well, here's what Gabe Ripley has to say. Everybody, gotta sell the prints if you want the prints to sell. I think that's that has to be has to be true. Thank you,
That's
Gabe.
real.
You gotta sell the
thank you
prints
so
if you
much.
want the prints to sell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
you gotta sell the prints if you want the prints to sell. Prints to sell. Yes, of course. You do have to put it out there. Imagine, right? You're an artist and you got all that art, right? And you don't ever share it with the world. That would be
Yeah.
the tragedy. You know what I mean? So, hey, Jason Leeser, everybody. Good morning, Jason. Good to see you. We had Creature, but
Yeah, what
we
happened?
lost Creature somehow. I don't know.
Morning,
I don't
Jason.
know. Good morning, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
I understood that.
Sorry, still waking up. I haven't even caffeinated yet, so bear with me.
I'm right there with you.
That's why we, when we get started, right, and do these warm ups, right, and do the stretches and stuff. These are things I really have to, I have to admit, I definitely went forever without without doing that. So there is tons of ways to do this, right? I'm not saying that this is somehow like the prescription, but somehow just doing something repetitive that gets you warmed up, doing something that's going to stretch you out. That's going to be so good for your drawing practice, just for I guess being able to even deal with, say, customers. You know what I mean? I think it can be so many challenges that you do have to sort of overcome, or at least grapple with, as it were. And these are certainly things that I think are warming up. It helps, right? It's tough going in cold. That really is the case. So, anyways, I have a little. There we go. Little chapter to share with you all. Hopefully, you can. I think you can see my screen right now. Yeah. So this is from Ernest Norling's Perspective Made Easy. It's a really good book, I think, on perspective. It's made easy. This perspective is really challenging. And so having some kind of book that you work through, it doesn't mean that you have to have this very rigid approach to drawing things in perspective all the time, or that you have to sort of obey some kind of rules. But when something's not working for you, you might need to analyze what it is, and then having some of these practical sort of exercises, I think, can be really useful, right? So again, a topic we definitely talked about before, finding the center and dividing spaces, but I think just to revisit it, I think can be really useful. A sweet little illustration of an interior of a room, right? This rug laying down here on the floor, I can see this pattern in the middle. It looks like it's in the middle of it, right? If you were to get a ruler and measure it out, that's it's in perspective, so it's not exactly in the middle of this shape, but again, it's like this illusion, right? This deception that tells the truth somehow. It's interesting, paradoxical how that works. Anyway,
Hey,
so
James.
find the center.
James,
Yo.
question for you. That
Yes.
last example that you showed, was that a good example of 2-point perspective? Because you're seeing things at different elevations as well as different angles. So that might be something that, you want to touch on, or.
Totally. Let's look at it again. So what we were drawing earlier, if you were following us earlier, that was called 1-point perspective. This is 2-point perspective. Now, I think I'll just call it that right now, rather than get into all the technicals. We can sketch a little bit later and sort of talk about what that means. But yes, this would certainly be a 2-point perspective. And there's 3-point, there's 4-point, there's 5-point. There's a lot of points that that you can get into. And again, there's this can become so rigid that it's almost unusable. It can become sort of this thing that doesn't really doesn't serve you, as it were. But keeping it simple, I think that can be really helpful. So yes, definitely this is 2-point. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. Thank
Well,
you
we
for
can
that
talk about that.
clarification.
2-point, but yeah, but we can see these, you know, we can see height, depth, right, and width. So it's the 3 dimensions, but in 2 points. So we can, you know. All right, so back to 2-dimensional, right? We've got these 2 different shapes here, right? We've got a rectangle, and then we have this prism down here, right? This like a block, this brick. Okay, so how to find the center? You place a brick upon the drawing table, right? You don't have to do that, but you can just draw a rectangle, right? And then draw cross lines, right, from each corner to corner, right, where they intersect here, a little C. That's going to be the center. And that's pretty straightforward. I think that's pretty understandable. Now, once we learn how to draw a little bit in perspective, right, how can we find the center? The same process, right? So we can, of course, we can draw these diagonals on these different planes, and we can find the center of this plane, and then it would be in perspective, you know, it would be in perspective because we already drew it in perspective, right? So the lines will intersect. That's going to be the center in perspective of each of these planes, okay? Again, like here's a practical application, right? You can figure out like where you would put the roof on a house, right? If you were going to sketch like a little cabin or, you know, some kind of like a structure, right? Where you would need to find this pitch of this roof, for example, right? So here's a practical sort of you know, thought experiment. Fold a piece of cardboard, place it on the brick, make the house, right? Draw in perspective. The point of the roof is directly where the 2 end lines cross. So, and you know, we could definitely go over this, like, you know, as a, like, how do you get this to work out? All right, there's a door in the center, right? There's a window. This is determined by the cross lines, the intersecting diagonals. So yeah, like where would you place, right? Would you put this door like right in the middle? You certainly could. That seems to be where it is here in this drawing, right? Or you could place it, you know, to either side. And kind of give your structure some character if you wish. All right. So this is an example. This is sort of a setup here for, you can see there's 2-point perspective, right? If we can imagine that this is, you know, this shape here, this diamond looking shape, is like a square or a rectangle, right? Seen in perspective. We could imagine that, like, you know, the 2 edges to the left and to the right, they're parallel, right? These 2 parallel lines, like in reality, they would never touch, but when seen in perspective, they will look like they're converging to a certain point, right? The point is always going to belong to what we would call eye level, right? The other word for that is the horizon line, but eye level, horizon. There's another vanishing point, right? Vanishing point over here. There's another one that's way, way over there, way off to the left-hand side, off the page, right? But these 2, presumably parallel lines, they're appearing to converge at a point somewhere out there. Now, if you want to find the center of this shape, again, we're drawing these diagonal lines across from corner to corner. It's giving us a center, right? The next step here, we're drawing from that center line to the vanishing points, right? And then so we're again, what has been done here is you created 4 proportional rectangles or squares from this initial one, if that makes sense, right? Each one of these, they're divided like, you know, like a sandwich cut, like diagonal, right? But each one of these 4 pieces, they're proportionate to the whole thing. They're the same proportion, the same like height and width, right? That relationship, proportionality, they relate to this thing. And that's, again, you know, thinking about it in like 2-dimensionally, that can be really sort of simple to comprehend. But here, when seen in perspective, you're just applying, you know, that same kind of process. All right, yeah, there it is. It looks like a, you know, like a tennis court or whatever. this can be sketched in, especially if you understand like how to achieve it in this in this sort of format. You can definitely sketch it in. It could be close enough, but I think that the technical term is eyeballing, right? If you eyeball it, it's gonna, you can get it to be pretty convincing. But yeah, that's a practical, application of this. I'm sure there's lots of different things. Hopefully your imagination is running wild with all the different ways you can you can use that. But anyways, like a garden, right? Same principles, right? Here's what's interesting as well. This relationship between, there's this garden and then there's this very ornate rug pattern underneath it. I think that initially these rug patterns, they really were sort of to represent the order of the universe, right? And then the garden is sort of an extension of this as well. So yeah, there's a really nice sort of relationship here, not only visually but also conceptually, the garden and the rug. So again, you can sort of find this sort of formal, center points and stuff, and that can be really useful. Again, here it is, sort of thinking about it flat on the ground, or you could also, lift it up and make it, make it like a vertical plane. Just like this, right? Just like this wall. Thinking of it in terms of where brick in perspective, right? But it's huge, right? Eye level is the height of your eye, right? So we see this line here. That is the horizon. That is your eye level. So this would be how tall you are, right? From this line here to the ground, right? And so however big this is, it's that much bigger, right? It's that much taller, twice your height, right? If it's below eye level, right, you're looking down. If it's above eye level, you're looking up. There's the center of it. Yeah, so there you go. That sort of a thought. It could be a room, and that would make sense, right? That the doorway, this is kind of a short doorway really, but that the doorway is taller than your eye, right? You can walk through a door, so you would assume that if the doorway was lower than this, you're either up on a ladder, you're very tall, it's a very small room, something like this. But in this case, we can see this doorway, it is it's tall enough, we should be able to fit through it. And the same thing, this window, you can look out the window, it's not above your eye level, you can't see out of it, or below it. A sign, for instance, right? How would you, develop this in perspective? Find the center. There's, there you have these different segments that you're going to be able to sort of divide up and make sure that you have proportions and stuff. So, yeah, these practical applications. All right, same kind of thing with the brick example, right? Again, we can see we found the center. We drew these diagonal lines from corner to corner, right? Found the center. We have this diagonal line here that is presumably going back to the vanishing point, right? It's in 2 dimensions, they would be all parallel, all lined up. But in this 3-dimensional sort of push, right, we have a little bit of misdirection, if you like. So what's been created here is these 4 proportionate rectangles, right? They're all proportionate to the shape of the whole thing. As well as down here, we have this is on the sides here, they're divided in half. They're not the same, as the whole thing. Alrighty, so practical application, box, tabletop, this sort of thing. Again, we're really looking down, right? We can see that We can see the top plane of this table, of this box. This is an object that's below our eye level, right? We're looking down on it. That seems pretty clear, but just we're talking about like, how do you achieve these, these things? How do you relate them to one another? It can be confusing when you're trying to draw things and not knowing exactly, like how do you organize them? You can organize these objects in relationship to the eye level. It's the organizing principle. So, all right. Hopefully that was understandable. Hopefully that was something that's, could be useful for you. In this example, thinking about the spacing, it's a similar type of operation, but again, we're kind of, we're thinking about how can we space things in perspective. So we have these two stakes right in the ground. If we were to measure them, right, sort of all these parallel lines, top, bottom, a center line. If we were to go from top of one through the middle of the other, when it intersected this lowest line, that would give us the same space, right? It's the same thing as we were just talking about. You take a rectangle or a square and then you go from corner to corner, you're gonna find the center point. In this case, we're just adding the same amount of distance, right? And we're using geometry to do so, right? Easy peasy. Well, when seen in perspective, you can think of it this way. This is a really, this is probably an exercise that you did, in school where you maybe, you drew a fence or you drew like a railroad track or something like that. Well, you probably eyeballed the tracks. You know what I mean? Like the tracks are all equidistant from each other, for instance, and you probably just sort of made it up. This would be a way to give you a slightly more convincing, slightly more mathematical like relationship if you wanted it. Again, what you could do is you could have this sort of, this formal structure that happens, and then you can always put stuff that's more organic next to it. That adds a lot of contrast, I think, to your composition. So what do we have here? We have you can see this eye level or horizon. Right? There's the mountains, and then there's a point, right? Somewhere off here, it's on eye level. This stake of the fence, right? It's so tall, right? There's the ground, there's the top of it. It goes off to the distance. Well, all you need is a second amount, arbitrary, whatever, however much you want. You divide, right, diagonal from the top of this through the middle. Wherever it intersects this ground plane line, there's the next one, so on and so forth. And so, yeah, the same relationship is true when we draw the row of posts in perspective, right? So remember, these cross lines, right, diagonals, are useful to find the center of square cornered surface, though the surface may or may not be drawn in perspective. Bricks with cross lines can be used as a basis for a large number of our perspective drawings. When two objects are of the same height and placed in perspective drawing, we can add as many more as we wish, and they will be correctly spaced. Okay, so I think that that's that. So yeah, welcome back. Let's see what happened here.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
And I've seen this used in some of the illustration classes I've taken where people will essentially grid out like a human body almost in squares or rectangles, and they'll use that element of perspective for helping them figure out foreshortening and how big certain things need to be in relationship to other things. So I'm kind of asking your question here, but would that be like the same base principle? Granted, I know your vanishing point would be much further off, usually off the paper. But I was wondering if you would use the same kind of principle when it comes down to foreshortening anatomy and things of that nature.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's the same type of thing as that we were really, doing with our warm up, foreshortening, it brings the object sort of, in line with your eye, right, with your vision. So just to quickly sort of go over just some basics of how this could work, or how you could, like, you don't have to do this all the time. Just like Jason was saying, there are like these really simple, like ideas, like the vanishing point is off the page, and this sort of thing. So, like, for instance, if you here's the the proof of it, for example, right? So if we have a circle, we have the center point of the circle, for instance. If we drew one line out to the edge of the circle, right? This is called a radius. If it goes all the way across, it's called a diameter. And I haven't forgot your question yet, Jason. I'm going to get to it. Right. So we've got a circle. We've got a center point. There's a diameter there. Here's just a property of circles, which this is Thales' theorem. So at any point, right, if you go from from one point of the diameter to the other, and it intersects with any point on the circumference of the circle, let's say right there, right? We draw a straight line from there, and then another straight line to that one, for instance, right? What we have here is a right triangle. This works anywhere on this circle, right? So any point that you like, to there, another right triangle, same thing, anywhere. It's a property of circles, right? So this isn't a square, but these are right, they're all right angles, which is how that we can sort of think about, like, perspective, for instance. So here's the way that it kind of, that we think about, like, how perspective develops, right? So eye level, when we think about it, wherever it is the height of your eye. There's some point, right? This is your eyeball is right here, right? If we were to draw like a half circle, pretend that's a circle, right? Pretend it's a circle, right? These points of intersection here, right? What do we have? It's the same thing we just went over. Thales' theorem. We have a right angle, right? These are two vanishing points, right? These are two vanishing points. The same thing could be said, like, if we shrunk this down, right? We had a much sort of larger eye level. Forgive. Anyway, so if we had another vanishing point, let's say right there, right? Well, again, we just have a larger, sort of angle here. But then again, right angles. This would be another set of two vanishing points. Okay. There's only so much. There's only so much, that we can see at any point, right? We're never going to see both of these vanishing points at the same time. They're too far away. Instead, what we have is
vanishing points.
Yes, exactly. Well, you can see one. You can see one at a time, but you can't see more than that. So what we have here is, so it's estimated like the cone of vision. Cone of vision, right? So these are, there's a certain amount of space that you can actually visually perceive at any point in time. And so, so if you thought about like a particular perspective, right? I would have that sort of sign that was in the ground, right? And it would be going back to the vanishing point that's off the page, right? And if it were a building, right, it'd be the same thing. It'd be going, to those vanishing points that we were just going over. It's outside of our, particular vision. But at the same time, it's, you might have a particular drawing where you could see one, and so, if you have like a a vanishing point, right? You know, let's say that you had, let's say that you have this cube, right? It's going off to vanishing points, you know, that way, right? Somewhere. Forgive me, I'm just sort of sketching, but right, you have this dimensional cube, right? It's like this side is a bit this side here is a bit foreshortened. Same thing with a 1-point perspective, right? If you have you have this block and it is, you know, perspective this way. This this edge here, right, is foreshortened. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you have some, you know, it's like if you see, if somebody points a finger at you and it comes really close to your, you know, it looks like it gets bigger. You know what I mean? It gets bigger, and that's how that that you can start to think about like this foreshortening. So yeah, as far as the things that we were working on today, if you have a rectangle or a square, right? If you divide it like that, diagonal to the diagonal, you find the center. You know, if you again this way, now you can make those proportionate. Mine's you have to be very accurate for it to really be proportionate, but you know, but the idea, right, is that you've made these proportionate shapes. Each one of these are proportionate to this whole thing, if you will. So sloppy. So sloppy, sorry. There we go. Shave a little bit off the side. Same thing, you know, again, you can divide it again, and there you go. Now you've got, again, this proportionality, right? Things are staying in proportion. You can presumably divide this line forever, so on and so forth. But, you know, what, like, how is this useful? Well, if you are going to be designing something like thumbnails or the like, I think that it can be really good if you end up having the thumbnails that are, you know, proportionate to the end product that you're gonna, you know, that you're gonna be doing. Like if you're gonna, you know, I think there's definitely like 2 stages. Sometimes these terms are used interchangeably, but I think there's 2 stages: ideation and thumbnailing. So ideation is this very rough, like anything goes, any shape goes, or whatever. Thumbnails are, you know, they're still rough, but they're slightly more directed towards what it is that you're going to want. And so having a thumbnail that is the same proportion as the whole thing that you're going to end up wanting, that can be, I think that can be a very, you know, useful, effective way to go, right? So just dividing our shape, right? That's easy to do. Once we have some perspective going on, right, we can always divide it. We can do the same process. Again, this is starting to think about like, you know, these edges are all parallel, right? You know, these are parallel, right? But if they're going back into perspective, right, they're all going to appear to converge at a single point. And same thing, you know, with these guys, these edges, right? So, and then again, you can just divide again, just like we're talking about. Do this same operation, whatever, right? The same kind of thing, but yeah, interestingly enough, you could, if you have your, you know, your tablet. Slide it down a little bit. You know, you could come pretty close to, you know, making something seem in perspective. Yeah, right. You can. So yeah, this is, you know, more of like a 1-point perspective sort of deal, right? You don't have to draw it, right? You can, you know, you can do it all kinds of ways, right? Especially with all these digital tools. Um, you could draw a 2D plan, and then you could make it. You could very well make it as 3-dimensional as you like. Maybe I can do it this way. Pretty close. Yeah, there it is. That's like getting closer. Something. Make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, huge. So okay, so yeah, it's like, if you start to internalize and learn some of those shortcuts or some of that stuff, right? How can you use it? Like, how can you quickly digitally make it? You know, uh, like that, right? you can find some workarounds, and it can be really fun. I think you don't have to, like, be beholden to the, it's just you can eyeball it. You can make it kind of close enough as long as it's convincing. I think that's really what you're going for. Jason, I don't know if I answered your question or not. I hope
You
I
did,
hope that
and
was-
I've got a little Procreate hack for everyone if you're interested in seeing it.
Yeah, I love it. Let me see. I think you can share your screen.
I'm pretty
Let
sure
me,
I can. I'm just getting some
I
stuff set
will.
up.
Let me stop sharing my screen and see if you can share your screen. If you want to.
Wait, wrong one.
All right, hold
I
on.
can
Let
show
me
my
see
video.
if I can spotlight you. I don't know how to spotlight you. No.
Essentially, I think you have to turn everyone else's video off.
All right, I will. Okay, so I'm
I
gonna
think that's the
turn.
only way you can
I'm gonna
really
turn
do
us
it.
off, and then let's see. I'm gonna turn us off, and we won't be able to speak to you for a minute. All right, so I think you're gonna.
Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me all right. There's a little hack in Procreate that allows you to draw perspective pretty quickly. So what you would do is you would come up to your actions button, come over to Canvas, right? And then you would come down to drawing guides, turn those on, and then you would go to edit drawing guide right there. And by default, you're set up with like a big grid. And that's cool. You can use that and then tweak things from there if you want to. But they have a perspective option down at the bottom. If you click on that, you can then you literally tap anywhere on the screen with your pen to create a vanishing point. And you can kind of see all of the radiant lines coming out from that individual space. And you can set that anywhere you want. You can even go off the page and you'll see like all of the lines connecting to that individual vanishing point. Where this can really come in handy is if you wanted to do like 2 or 3 point perspective. You can go through and you can actually add additional radiant line points. So that's just tapping on that to rotate it. But if I wanted to add, say, another one, oh, I already did. This is just done in a different color, so I can probably tweak that to make it a little darker so everyone can see it. So now I've got 2 different vanishing points that I can go through and kind of control, and that will allow me to adjust height and perspective, change the angles on anything I need to show wherever that is. And it creates this nice little grid for you. If you wanted to add a 3rd vanishing point, you should be able to go through and, well, that one just rotates that line. We'll do delete. Then if I wanted to add a 3rd one, say you're drawing a building from a height or a perspective or anything else like that, you can always go through and add an additional vanishing point. So you can create elevation lines, you can create, all different types of fun stuff based on what it is you're trying to achieve. This line literally just rotates. That's our base horizon line. I thought you could add up to 3 different ones. Might be wrong.
No, I think you can. It's like I think you have to just click, like you have to back up and then click it underneath the. And then it's like what we were going through earlier was like we have these 2 parallel lines appearing to converge to the vanishing points, right? All of the vertical lines we were calling just vertical.
Yeah.
They'd be perpendicular to the to eye level, but again, like if you put that 3rd vanishing point like above or below, then all of the vertical lines would then have a little bit of that perspective bent to them. So very interesting. Thank you, Jason. I love that. And so again, it's like figuring out how to how it works can really help you like use the digital tools to be even more effective. And just play around with it. I think that's really really what we're trying to encourage you all to do. Is to be inspired and to have some like when you're feeling blocked, right? Like how is it that you're going to get over that block? And it's like maybe you just draw some ellipses or some circles or something, or maybe you just start drawing these 3-dimensional objects. Before you know it, you're drawing the character that you want to draw. You're sketching that new page of Flash that you want to do. I'm also like talking to myself a bit. You know what I mean? Like it is tough. I think again to reiterate what Gabe said, right? If you want to sell it, right, you got to sell it. So you have to make it. What is it like? There's this old saying that says like fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that. I like it the other way, right? Is make it till you make it, right? That I think that like it's easier said than done, but that is you're just being creative. Who cares if nobody cares? Who gives a shit? You have to do it anyway, right? Sometimes it's sometimes you don't want to get up, push the buttons, and and draw the things. It doesn't matter. You have to do it. So that's. I hope that I hope I remember that too. When I feel that way, I feel that way all the time. So I hope you I hope you all are feeling inspired, right? You're not alone. Everything sucks.
A lot of times when I have like a block, I'll like if I'm writing and I'm blocked and I can't write and everything sounds like shit, I will read. I'll take a week and just read. If I'm having a hard time painting and I'm blocked, I'll go to an art museum and just take in others that are doing what I want to do. And a lot of times that lights that fire and gets me inspired.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think there's also, like you can't force everything all the time. So I'm not saying that. I'm definitely not saying that, right? If you can't do it right then, you can't do it. But thinking about what it is that you do in along different dimensions, that can be very useful, I think.
Absolutely.
There's all like I was just talking about, like this idea of ideation versus thumbnailing. They are similar, right? But again, like having that, whether it's like kind of putting together a mood board or like doing this very loose gestural sketch. Those you're just moving your just like free association, right? You're just moving your hand around. Let's say hypothetically, there's all kinds of ways that you can just keep it going, even though it doesn't seem valuable at the time. doesn't mean that it's gonna be, but it's but like the value may emerge out of that. I hope that this is not about like it's not always going to be positive. It may
Yeah.
not ever be positive, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean. That there's the thing that we are about. I think is the doing. Right? It's pure drive.
definitely.
It's pure drive because you could get all the compliments that you want, right? But it doesn't. That's not what it's about. It can't be. It's too fleeting. You know what I mean? It's about this repetition of
Mhm.
creativity, which is destruction, right? You're destroying something, clean piece of paper. You're destroying it, putting your garbage on there, and then something is born into the world because you made this mess, and you
I
destroyed something.
find blank things offensive. I don't like blank walls. I don't like blank paper, blank canvases. If it's blank, I'm like, I can't exist in the void.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, you can't exist in the void. Some people like separate the peas from the carrots, and some people mix them all together.
Mhm.
There isn't a right way or a wrong way, but I mean, again, you're still you're taking something, and it changes what it is. Any sort of action on it is changing what it is. Absolutely. So, well, I am again. I'm so grateful for everybody that had a chance to to make it today. Thank you all for for being here. We're gonna wrap it up. I gotta get packed, ready to go to the
Yeah,
convention.
really.
So so Jason, get a hold of me later because we want to
Jason's
record.
probably already packed.
You probably
Yeah,
already all
Haven't
packed.
even started.
Ah.
I actually just
What?
ran off my new designs for the show yesterday, so I'm lagging behind. Today's going to be spent mostly packing and just making my lists of things that I know I need to remember. And I always like to write everything down.
Make sure
And
you
then-
check them twice.
Yep. Oh yeah. And then tomorrow when I get into the studio, it's going to be basically just packing up all the studio stuff. So it's going to eliminate a little bit of pressure. But going through and saying, okay, if I was to set up at the studio, what would I need? And I run through like a mental checklist, and I'll grab, okay, plastic wrap. I know I need plastic wrap. Okay, done. Put that in the box. But I visualize it as I'm going through what I need to do a tattoo. And that just really helps get me through everything. So
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, like I was, we were talking about yesterday, Jason. Like, can't wait to figure out what it is I forgot.
yeah,
what is it that I'm going to leave behind? I can't wait. I'm gonna.
we always leave something
Yeah,
behind.
gonna leave something.
Yeah.
So,
Bring your sunscreen.
okay, all right. Yes, I will. I'll pack some sunscreen. Anyway, yeah, this has been again. It's always refreshing and recharging. Oh, look at that puppy dog.
Say hi, Trixie.
Hey.
She's my old lady.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you all again for coming. It really is great to see you. Please, give us a quick little sign off. Jason, I'll start with you.
Cool. Thanks everyone. My name's Jason.
That was quick.
Turn me off. Thanks, James.
Sorry. Yeah, do it again. I'm trying to figure out how to spotlight people. Gabe just told me.
I don't necessarily think you can.
He said there's a way. Let's see. Speaker large mode. Double click somebody. Hold on. No, that's hiding you. Hid you. All right. Here. Okay. All right. And then no, I can't figure it out, Gabe. Nope. All right, sorry. Sorry, Jason.
So my name's Jason Leeser. I host the Skill Building Sunday Drawing Group every Sunday at 1 p.m. You can find me on Instagram at Philly Inc. It's like right up here. Feel free to send me a DM, shoot me a message. I'll be down in Puerto Rico with James and a whole bunch of other absolutely incredible artists coming up later this week. So please stay tuned. Don't be surprised if we end up going live at some point in time and just saying hi to everyone.
That would be
doing
awesome.
a walkthrough or something like that. Literally, this year's show is loaded with incredible artists. So it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait. So, James, thank you very much for having me on today. It's always a pleasure. And I will see you in Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, thanks, Jason. Amber, let's have you tell us where we can find you.
Sure. My name is Amber Morgaine. You can find me on all social media platforms under Amber Morgaine. And as always, thank you so much for hosting this on Monday mornings. I thoroughly enjoy the conversations and the refreshers of the basics. It really is helping me get back into the swing of things. Because, life happens and then, art takes aside for a day and then shit, it's been 2 days. And this always makes sure every week I get a reset.
You're too kind. Thank you, Amber. Again, it's always it's a privilege to have you. And so, yeah, can't wait to catch up with you in 2 weeks.
Yes, have a
December
great time in Puerto Rico.
December 11th, I believe that's the day. Let me double check because we're gonna have a guest. Yeah, it's December 11th. Mickey Schlick. Mickey Schlick's going to join us again, so we're looking forward to to have Mickey on the program on the 11th. So let's see. Okay, great. Kyle,
Yes, sir.
say what's up.
My name is Kyle Olson. You can get a hold of me at Olson _ holy cow, words. On Instagram, you can get a hold of me at Olson _ tattoos, OLSON. You can also reach out to me at trinityartcollective.com. Thanks for having me, James. Thanks for the reminder send, everything like that. I'm definitely interested in the new platform. I'm super excited to see. It looks like there's a lot more options for you. So excited to see what you can do. And thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course. It's always great to see you, Kyle. Great to catch up with you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
The new platform is we have so many options, and that's that's where the complications come in as well. But
Yeah,
we're going
right.
to make of it. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody again out there, for coming and watching us and hanging out with us. Again, we couldn't do it without you. And also we want to thank Guy and Gabe for making this possible. We appreciate everything you both do.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. I'm James Wisdom. This has been Drawing for Tattooers. Happy drawing, everybody. And we will see you next